Hello, Ian McGarry here from Cara Nurseries. I'm back to you again. So today we're starting a new initiative, which is Troubleshooting Thursday. And one of the first things we wanted to bring to you here from the nursery is overwatering and underwatering on the nursery and plants in general, because this is probably one of the biggest questions we get asked from customers and people asking, how do I know when my plants are underwatered and how do I know when my plants are overwatered? And it's probably the most basic care that you can give to a plant, but it's also probably the most important bit of care. Here's our sales benches here that you may recognise around the sales cabin here at Cara Nurseries. These are flood benches, so we can kind of control the watering. I've got these ones I've been set up very wet the last couple of days. I'm just going to show you this bench. This plant is extremely wet. So straight away, if I squeeze that, you can see the water is coming out of it. So to be honest with you, that plant is very wet. Ideally, if that doesn't dry out in the next 2 or 3 days, if it stays at this amount of water, it's actually overwatered. So the idea here is that you're trying to keep the plants moist, but not sitting in water all the time. A good test here that we would use here in the nursery is stick your finger in and just see how much soil sticks to your finger as you bring it out. And that gives you a real good indication of how damp the soil is. So that soil there is very damp, and I believe that plant is wet enough, but is actually, if it's left sitting in water for the next few days, could actually be considered overwatered. But this time of year, I'm quite happy with that plant. Here we have now the same plant, different coloured pot, and this has been left on a dry bench the last couple of days. So this bench up here is dry, and you can see here that this bench, they suck water from the bottom up. This is very dry at the bottom, so it's noticeably dry, but the top is quite damp. The rain has wetted from the top, and the bottom hasn't had any excess water, so that's why it's dry in the bottom half. So this plant is actually on the dry side now. So when we put this back into the pot and when this was in the ground, you're trying to figure out how wet it is. But if I stick my finger in, this is a lot drier on top. You know, when I squeeze the soil, there's no excess moisture coming out. Now, it's not bone dry, it's not panic stations yet, but the other option you see is that you look at the plant, you stand back and you look at the plant and you see if there's any wilting at all in the plant. So here we can see all the leaves on this lavender are all upright. So straight away, as a visual, before you even touch the soil, you know that plant at the moment has sufficient water. Whereas if we were to have a plant that was extra dry here, you would see these leaves dropping and pointing down. This is the basic elements of checking to keep a plant watered. But the best way, if you want to check in your own garden, is to go out physically every day or every couple of days, check the leaves, look to see if there's leaves drooping on the plant. And then the other section then is stick your finger down by the side of the plant and see how damp or moist or dry the plant is. Basically, you'll build up experience over a couple of weeks or in time on how to know when a plant is really perfect. So thank you for listening, and if you have any emails or questions, please send them in to us into the office and we'll answer them. Thank you.